Igniting change, how one person's compassion can transform the world. Welcome to the BlackCEO Podcast, where we explore the extraordinary stories of those who dare to make a difference. Today, I have the privilege of sharing with you the profound insights I gained from an unforgettable conversation with Quiana Wolfe, a true beacon of hope and change in our world. Before we dive in, let me paint a picture for you. Imagine a world where every person believed in their power to make a difference. A world where compassion wasn't just a buzzword, but a way of life. This isn't some far-fetched utopia, my friends. This is the world Quiana Wolfe is helping to create, one small act of kindness at a time. Quiana isn't just an inspirational figure. She's a force of nature. Her work in community development has transformed neighborhoods. Her mentorship programs have ignited the potential in countless young minds, and her unwavering commitment to social justice has sparked movements. But what truly sets Quiana apart is her belief in the power of everyday compassion to change the world. Now, I know what you're thinking. Another feel-good story about changing the world? Give me a break. Trust me, I've been there. In our cynical age, it's easy to dismiss tales of hope and transformation as naive fantasies. But stick with me, because Quiana's insights aren't just inspirational, they're revolutionary. Let's start with a question that's kept me up more nights than I care to admit. What does it truly mean to make a difference in the world? Is it about grand gestures, hefty donations, or having your name plastered on buildings? Or is it something more accessible? Quiana's story begins in a small town where opportunities were as rare as rain in the Sahara. Growing up, she witnessed the daily struggles of her community, families barely scraping by, young people losing hope faster than they could dream, and a pervasive sense that change was something that happened to other people in other places. But here's where it gets interesting. Instead of succumbing to despair or plotting her escape, Quiana did something radical. She chose hope, and not just the passive, fingers crossed kind of hope. No, Quiana embraced a fierce, action-oriented hope that refused to accept the status quo. Now, I can almost hear the skeptics among you. And that's great for Quiana, but I'm just one person. What can I really do? Well, buckle up, because that's exactly where Quiana started too. She didn't have a master plan or unlimited resources. What she had was a burning desire to help and the courage to take that first step. Quiana's first initiative was so simple, it's almost laughable. She noticed that many kids in her neighborhood didn't have access to books at home. So what did she do? She started a small lending library out of her garage. I'm not talking about some state-of-the-art facility here. This was a few shelves, some donated books, and a whole lot of heart. But here's where it gets powerful. It wasn't just about the books. It was about showing those kids that someone cared, that someone believed in their potential. It was about creating a space where dreams could take root and flourish. This small act of kindness snowballed into something much bigger. As word spread, more people wanted to get involved. Soon, Quiana was organizing tutoring sessions, mentorship programs, and community events. She became a catalyst for change, inspiring others to step up and contribute in their own ways. Now, I can almost hear some of you saying, that's all well and good, but I don't have the time or resources to start something like that. And you know what? That's okay. Because the most important lesson I learned from Quiana is that bettering people's lives doesn't always require grand gestures or massive initiatives. Sometimes it's the small, everyday actions that make the biggest difference. Let me share a story that Quiana told me, one that perfectly illustrates this point. There was a young man in her community who had been struggling with depression. He felt invisible, like his existence didn't matter to anyone. One day, Quiana saw him at the local grocery store looking particularly down. She could have just walked by, focused on her own errands. But instead, she stopped, looked him in the eye, and simply asked, "How you doing today?" 4 words. That's all it took. For that young man, it was everything. Someone had seen him. Someone had cared enough to ask. That simple interaction was the spark he needed to seek help and start turning his life around. This story hit me like a ton of bricks. How many times have I rushed past someone too busy with my own life to notice their struggle? How many opportunities to make a difference have I missed simply because I didn't take a moment to truly see the people around me? Quiana's approach to bettering people's lives is rooted in this fundamental principle. Every interaction is an opportunity to make a positive impact. It's about being present, being kind, and being willing to extend yourself for others, even in small ways. But let's be real for a moment. This isn't always easy. We live in a world that often prioritizes individual success over collective well-being. We're bombarded with messages telling us to look out for number one, to climb the ladder, to focus on our own goals and aspirations. And there's nothing inherently wrong with personal ambition. But Quiana's work reminds us that true fulfillment comes from balancing our personal growth with our responsibility to our community. This brings me to another crucial insight from my conversation with Quiana: the importance of redefining success. In our society, success is often measured in terms of wealth, status, or power. But Quiana challenges us to adopt a different metric: the positive impact we have on others. She shared a powerful analogy with me. Imagine you're standing in a room full of people, each holding an unlit candle. You have the only lit candle. Now you have two choices. You can guard your flame jealously, keeping it to yourself, or you can start lighting other people's candles. The beautiful thing is, by lighting others' candles, your own flame doesn't diminish. Instead, the entire room becomes brighter. This is the essence of Quiana's philosophy. By uplifting others, by contributing to the betterment of our communities, we're not diminishing our own light. We're creating a brighter world for everyone, ourselves included. But here's where it gets really interesting. Quiana pointed out that this approach to life isn't just altruistic, it's also incredibly fulfilling on a personal level. When we shift our focus from accumulating things to creating positive change, we tap into a wellspring of purpose and meaning that no amount of material success can match. Think about it. When you look back on your life, what are the moments that stand out? Is it the promotion you got or the car you bought? Or is it the times you made a difference in someone's life? The times you offered a kind word, lent a helping hand, or stood up for what was right? Quiana's work has shown time and time again that it's these moments of connection and impact that truly enrich our lives. They're what give us a sense of purpose, what make us feel truly alive. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This all sounds great, but I'm just one person. How much of a difference can I really make? Well, let me share another story from Quiana that addresses this very question. There was a time when Quiana felt overwhelmed by the scale of the problems in her community. Unemployment was high, crime rates were rising, and hope seemed to be in short supply. She found herself thinking, what's the point? I can't fix all of this. But then she remembered a story her grandmother used to tell her. It was about a massive forest fire that was raging out of control. All the animals were fleeing the forest except for one little hummingbird. This tiny bird was flying back and forth, carrying tiny drops of water in its beak to drop on the fire. The other animals laughed at the hummingbird. What do you think you're doing? They asked. You're too little. Your wings are too small. Your beak is too tiny. You can't put out this fire. The hummingbird turned to them and said, I'm doing what I can. This story became Quiana's mantra. She realized that she didn't need to solve all the world's problems overnight. She just needed to do what she could, where she was, with what she had. And you know what? That approach worked wonders. By focusing on what she could do rather than getting paralyzed by what she couldn't, Quiana was able to make real, tangible changes in her community. And as she did so, she inspired others to do the same. This is a crucial lesson for all of us. We often feel powerless in the face of big problems: climate change, social inequality, political division. But Quiana's work shows us that change doesn't always come from the top down. It often starts at the grassroots level, with individuals deciding to make a difference in their own spheres of influence. So what does this mean for you and me? It means that we have more power than we realize. Every day, we have countless opportunities to make a positive impact. It could be as simple as offering a kind word to someone who's struggling, volunteering at a local charity, or standing up against injustice when we see it. But here's the catch. It requires us to be intentional. It requires us to look up from our phones, to step out of our comfort zones, to be willing to engage with the world around us. It requires us to cultivate what Quiana calls a mindset of service. This mindset of service isn't about martyrdom or self sacrifice. It's about recognizing that we're all interconnected, that our individual well being is inextricably linked to the well being of our communities and our planet. It's about understanding that by lifting others, we lift ourselves as well. Quiana shared a beautiful metaphor for this. She said, imagine society as a giant tapestry. Each of us is a single thread. We can choose to focus solely on our own thread, trying to make it as bright and shiny as possible. Or we can recognize that our thread is part of a larger picture and work to strengthen the entire tapestry. When we do that, our own thread becomes part of something far more beautiful and meaningful than it could ever be on its own. This perspective shift can be transformative. It turns everyday interactions into opportunities for positive impact. It infuses our work, our relationships, and our daily lives with a sense of purpose and meaning. But let's be honest, adopting this mindset isn't always easy. We live in a world that often prioritizes individual achievement over collective well being. We're bombarded with messages telling us that success means having more money, more status, more stuff. Quiana acknowledged this challenge. She's faced it herself. There were times when she was tempted to give up her community work and focus on a more lucrative career path. But every time she considered it, she came back to a simple question. What kind of world do I want to live in? This question became her North Star, guiding her decisions and actions. And it's a question we can all benefit from asking ourselves regularly. What kind of world do we want to live in? And more importantly, what are we willing to do to create that world? Quiana's work reminds us that we all have the power to shape our world one interaction at a time. It's not about being perfect or solving all the world's problems overnight. It's about consistently choosing kindness, empathy, and service. It's about recognizing the humanity in others and doing what we can to uplift those around us. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought from my conversation with Quiana. She said, the most powerful thing you can do is to be fully, authentically yourself and to use your unique gifts in service of others. This statement encapsulates the essence of Quiana's philosophy. It's not about trying to be someone you're not or doing things that don't align with your values and strengths. It's about recognizing your inherent worth, embracing your unique qualities, and then channeling those into making a positive difference in the world. So I challenge each of you listening today. How can you use your unique gifts to better the lives of others? How can you incorporate a mindset of service into your daily life? What small actions can you take today to create positive change in your community? Remember, you don't need to change the entire world. You just need to change someone's world. And in doing so, you might find that you change your own world too. As we conclude this episode of the Black CEO Podcast, I want to express my deepest gratitude to Quiana Wolfe for sharing her wisdom and experiences. Her insights have profoundly impacted my perspective on what it means to live a meaningful life. And I hope they've resonated with you as well. But here's the thing. This isn't just about feeling inspired for a moment and then going back to business as usual. This is about taking action. This is about making a conscious decision to live differently, to see the world differently, to treat others differently. So here's my call to action for you. Start small, but start now. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, commit to one act of kindness. It doesn't have to be grand. Maybe it's smiling at a stranger, helping a colleague with a task, or calling a friend who's been going through a tough time. Whatever it is, do it with intention and compassion. Then the next day, do it again. And the day after that. Make it a habit. Make kindness and service a part of your daily routine, as natural as brushing your teeth or checking your email. But don't stop there. Challenge yourself to step out of your comfort zone. Look for opportunities to make a difference in your community. Volunteer at a local charity, mentor a young person. Speak up against injustice when you see it. Use your skills and resources to support causes you believe in. And here's the real challenge. When you're faced with a difficult decision, when you're at a crossroads in your life, ask yourself Quiana's question. What kind of world do I want to live in? Let that guide your choices. Let it shape your career path, your relationships, your everyday interactions. Because here's the truth. We are all world changers. Every single one of us. We change the world with every action we take, every word we speak, every choice we make. The question is not whether we'll change the world, but how we'll change it. Will we change it through indifference and self-interest, Or will we change it through compassion, kindness, and service? The choice is ours. And it's a choice we make every single day. So, let's choose wisely. Let's choose kindness. Let's choose service. Let's choose to see the humanity in every person we meet. Let's choose to believe in our power to make a difference. Because when we do that, when we all do that, we create ripples of positive change that can transform our communities, our nations, and ultimately our world. Remember, as Quiana showed us, it all starts with one person deciding to make a difference. Today, let that person be you. Thank you for listening. And remember, you have the power to change the world, one act of kindness at a time. Now go out there and make your mark. The world is waiting for you.